Hi guys, it's Erin, and I'm here with an art journaling video for you today. I back in well, I want to say like June of last year or something. I saw James Burke post a bunch of art journals that he used coloring book pages for, and I thought that that was really cool, especially since he used like Disney coloring books, and I have a bunch of those, and the Dollar Tree has a bunch of those. So I bought a bunch of those and I made some Disney journaling pages, which was fun. And then I discovered Dee Dee Willingham earlier this year, and I saw that she was doing the like adult coloring books pictures, and she would use images that I wouldn't want to color as an art, an actual image or a entire page, but to use it for something in an art journal as an image or instead of buying a stamp, basically. I thought that that was really cool, and it's like, well, of course, because I like realistic animals, and there's a bunch of pages about realistic animals. Why not put them in my weird art journaliness? So that's where I got the idea for all of that. Like, of course, use coloring books, because then you don't have to buy 5 billion other stamps, and then you don't want to color the same thing over and over again. And I have this issue where I don't want to see the same image in my journal over and over again, so I don't use my stamps in my journaling, and so that didn't work. So what I did was Dee Dee used a book called Nature Inspired Coloring, and I was originally going to make it into its own art journal, but I didn't like how the paper reacted, and I wanted to combine the images, which you're going to see, or you already saw if you saw the beginning. Um, so I used 3 different images from this book. But before I did that, I wanted to make this background, and this is pretty much the last time that I use my Dylusions paints, because the thing that I really don't like is the translucency to them, especially with this pink here. It is basically like every other Dylusions product. They pick up the colors around them, especially my pink and my purple. I don't know what it is, but they have to bleed through everything. Even a different brand's black will bleed, the pink will bleed through it, and I don't like that. Especially if I have something white on there, I want it to stay white. Like if I used paint, I need the white paint to stay white, and it doesn't happen. It stays, whatever Dylusions decides to dye it. And that bugs me. And it's not going to bug everybody. It's not a bad product. I'm not saying that, don't get it. But for me and the way that I want to use them, ticks me off. So yeah, this is the last time that I use them. They're great colors, and I'm sad that the formula didn't work for me, but it just, for, like I always say, for my art and what I want it to do, it doesn't work. Um, so you can see me here using my Tim Holtz, what do you call it, the daubers. I really like the dauber tops so that I can do this and I don't have to get a mess everywhere. And I can basically, color with the tops. I know a lot of people are switching because they can mix media and all that stuff, and I just open the top and pour it out. So thankfully I didn't have to spend the money to switch, and my girlfriend sent me a bunch of dauber tops. So the cheaper ones that have the flippy top, I can switch them. The reason that I am doing this, though, is that it is so much faster for me to color when everything is colored with paint or covered with paint already, so that I can just let the transparency of just a couple layers of Prismacolors, Prismacolor pencils, I can let the transparency of that work because there's already an underpainting, literal underpainting of paint. So, I make sure that I color it with something, and paint was handy, and I didn't want any water reactive media. So in case I wanted to use something else that was water. So that's why I, just decided, okay, I'm just going to do the underpainting with paint. And here you can see that the images that I combined, it's three of these flowers, and then a tree that was on the front page, and a deer head. And yes, I cut off his antlers, but I'm going to give him back, so it's okay. And I used that time that it was drying to make it so now that I could do more layers. I'm always trying to use more stencils on my stuff, and I find that I just never use enough stencils. There's a girl that I follow on Instagram, Scrappy Girl, and she's amazing with this kind of stuff. Like 500 stencils on there, and it doesn't look like a hot mess. If I did it, it would look like a hot mess because there's 500 stencils on there, right? But somehow she manages to just make it work. And most of the time with this one, I was actually, allowing things to dry in their own time and trying to just set them aside and let them do their own thing. This is going to be a lot of coloring, but actually, I don't know that I can actually talk for this entire time. Um, you're seeing the video at 6 times speed because I don't want to make it so fast that you're sick. But this did take me 2 hours in reality. So coloring is still going to take a while, whether you're doing it for art journaling or not. I'm definitely not as precise in this, and there are times that I forget to focus in, so I'm really sorry. But I'm definitely not as precise on art journals because, well, I just don't really care. I honestly don't. I mean, it's going in a journal. I don't care. I don't know what it is about coloring books, especially since, I started from Copic coloring. I didn't know anything until like 8 years ago when I started with Copics. But I was perfectly fine with using artist quality for that. I'm perfectly fine with using artist quality for my stamps. And yet something about books is like, oh, I don't know if I should use artist quality stuff for that. And maybe it's because I am definitely becoming a supply snob. I hate anything that's not light fast now. It just really bugs me because half of the canvases that I made with Dilutions and Ranger products, they're all faded. 6 months to a year, all faded. It's very depressing. I have to remake everything. But I've talked about that before, and I'm not going to harp on it because it makes me sad. So yeah, I have to remake it all. But the coloring books is not that big a deal, and art journaling even more is supposed to be this free expression of just having fun and all that stuff. So I thought, I would definitely take from the coloring book, and I love the fact that these images specifically are already shaded for you. It's not grayscale, but it's got the shading in there as if it were grayscale. So it just kind of said, okay, we'll use your regular blend, but just don't stress about it and cover over it. And I did end up coloring quite a lot, but coloring does make me happy whether I'm using my better supplies or I'm using just craft supplies. But yeah, it's just a great way to relax and everything. And I really can't say much more about it, so I'm just going to give you some music and I'll come back. So yeah. Okay, so all of our things are colored and they're fussy cut, and then for some reason I really love fussy cutting. I don't know what it is, but it makes me happy. It's like meditative, but I didn't bother to film it because good God, it takes forever. So what I did do was I decided the layout that I wanted to do, and I thought that the bottom I had made it, grass green and all of that, but it didn't really fit with the flowers that I wanted to put there because there's a super bright green behind them. So I put some purple, I think that was distress paint. I wasn't really watching because I'm great at voiceovers. Um, I put some purple under there, and then I put a little bit more pink so that this has sort of a layer to go onto. And I'm just adhering these with Liquitex Matte Medium. And any brand that you want to use is great. I like Matte Medium because it's not sticky. And I don't even live where there's humidity. Things actually dry here, including my lungs, because there's no humidity here. And yeah, things really, really dry. But, I don't like to take the chance. And personally, the Mod Podge smells. Yeah. I mean, like not even kidding around kind of smell. Like, oh my God, open 1,700 windows and the roof kind of smell. So I like Liquitex Matte Medium because it doesn't smell. And it's kind of like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Like you either like one or the other. So I always have Liquitex stuff, and some people always only have golden stuff. And we all just, we choose our bands and we go with it. But yeah, that's literally my only reasoning. They're perfectly fine products, whatever you want to use, because you do you. Honestly, it's your journal. I don't care. You do what you like. And here I'm painting with my finger because, again, it's my journal and I'm doing what I like. And for some reason it said, hey, if you're going to do a weird waterfall that has absolutely no boundaries or any basis in reality, why not use your fingers? Because that's just even more wonky. And I knew that I had to place this tree. I actually made the tree look proper so it wasn't, the edge of a page. So that worked. But I knew that I had to place this tree somewhere over the waterfall because, again, it has no basis in reality. It makes no sense. The only reason you know it's a waterfall is because I just said it right now. It's such a bad waterfall. And I kept trying to futz with it and make it better, and it's like the worst waterfall you have ever seen. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's water going through here, and we'll just pretend that the tree is next to it. So here I told you I cut the antlers off of the deer, and that's mostly because this particular coloring book has weird big old green splotches all over everything, and people complain about it and whatever, but the way that I'm using it, I just cut that stuff out and paint over it. So I decided to make my own super crazy antlers, and then here he started to look like a cow because he's got those big antlers, and then halfway through I couldn't remember how really big 10-point bucks are supposed to look, so I just went like tree crazy with these antlers. I have no idea what's going on, but I have a feeling that this deer, if he were real, would be very uncomfortable. And I mean, what is this on his head? He's sitting there getting laughed at by every other deer. He's not Rudolph, but he probably would be, because wow. You thought the flower was a little fey. Well, look at those freaking antlers. But my point is also, occasionally I have points, those antlers don't stay white. I'm going to take a picture because I don't think I took pictures when I actually made this like a month ago. I'm going to take pictures, and this white's not white, and yeah, it bugs me. So that's a whole thing. Like I said, if the products work for you, that's great, but I switched. I switched paints because I can't take the heartbreak, people. I can't. When I make stuff, I want it to stay the way I wanted it to look, and it just doesn't. So all of my journal pages were supposed to be white. It ain't white. Mm-mm. And here I'm trying to give him more definition with paint. I don't know why I'm doing that, but it kind of worked. I mean, a little bit. You can't really see it on the video. I'm going to try with the photo. I haven't taken them yet because, like, when do I prepare for anything? But I'm going to try and make it so that you can see it, or maybe do some close-ups or something. But yeah, you'll see him at the end of the video. I did add some more definition, even though he was perfectly well, colored and everything. I mean, as well as you're going to be from me half-assing it. But I think it looked okay. And I just thought, well, maybe if I add some paint, it'll add some shadows or tie it into the background somehow, because I mean, he does kind of look like his head is just floating there, and I didn't want to connect it too much to the background because Lord knows what's going on back there. It's like some weird forest fiery pink diamondy thing, so I didn't I didn't really know how to connect it anyway, and I'm not gonna try and draw a deer, people. I'm just not, because that would end in tragedy. Have this beautifully drawn coloring book image and then me trying to draw the back of the deer? No. So here I'm going around it with one of those Stabilo pens, or pencils rather. It's a pencil. It's clearly a pencil. Um, it's not even pretending right now. One of the reasons I did that was because I didn't fussy cut all of these leaves around this tree because I would have gone insane. I mean, I find it meditative, but trying to get those coloring book lines, So I didn't try to do that. And then I like the look that it adds when you just put a little bit of water. And right now I'm trying to add some water, or trying to add some white to the water, like crashing waterfallness. It's not working, but like I said, I kept trying to make it work. And then I dipped into the black of the Stabilo, and so now there's a big old black streak in it too. And I'm like, just keep going, because if stuff doesn't work the way that you want it to, either you're going to fix it on the page as you keep working, or you're going to turn the page and make another one. It's not that big a deal. Even though I'm filming, I don't care. Just keep going. Just keep going, because eventually you'll either fix it or you'll forget about it. And I didn't forget about it because this is a couple months ago, but I'm watching it, so it's not like, you guys don't film everything, do you? I mean, you could. You could if you wanted, and then you'd have to do these crazy voiceovers where you babble for 20 minutes. It wasn't even 20 minutes. Look at this, because I cheated halfway through. So here I'm going to do a super slow-mo. You can see how slow I'm moving. I basically called it done. I don't know what those things say. I'm hoping that I'll capture it in the photos. It's the Tim Holtz Tiny Talk type stuff. There, see, that says make today count. You can read it because it's right there. Yay. I am so professional at this, aren't I? I mean, I should work for no one. Literally no one. Please don't. With this amount of insanity, I should work for no one. I'm going to apologize for this, taking an entire 2 months for me to put up. I didn't know if I could talk, and then I've had technical difficulties, so hopefully all of this is recording, and hopefully you get to see it. I have back videos, so I'm going to try and post them for you. And check out some photos. I'll put up a little bit more music, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.